So I don't know why I put myself in the last spot to follow all of these amazing speakers. Can you give a round of applause to everyone who has spoken so far tonight? You know, there's a really amazing study I read once, speaking of statistics, that people are more afraid of public speaking than death on average. So it really does take a lot of courage to get up here and take 5 minutes on stage, especially in this high-pressure, slides moving fast format. But I want to tell you guys about a little story from my life for my 5 minutes. My blog in 2 weeks turns 10 years old, which blows my mind. My oldest daughter turns 3 next month, so my blog is 7 years older than my kid. That's another mind-blowing thing to me. So I'm going to tell you guys 10 lessons I've learned over the last 10 years as a blogger. So as I mentioned, I've been blogging for a while. I actually started my first blog, it was a personal blog, back in July 2007. I worked at a Boy Scout camp in the office, and I had some downtime there. So I started writing a little bit and learning about this blog world. And then I started a personal finance blog, and my second post was in 2007, and that was the main image of the post. The economy was exploding. Lehman Brothers was going out of business. 2008, not 2007. But banks were exploding. This was me back then, 10 years ago. I didn't have this beard yet. I'd like to think I was still good looking, but my life has changed quite a bit. Now I have a family, I have 2 kids, I have a daughter. My life has changed so much over 10 years, and so has my blog. It started out, I knew a lot about internet marketing, so my site was at narrowbridgeadventures.blogspot.com. These days it's moved to personalprofitability.com, but it has changed a lot over the years, just like my life. I've added a podcast, I've added videos. And when I started, back in 2012, I started doing these little online income reports saying, here's how much I'm making from my side hustles. And that little side hustle led to me meeting people at this conference that led to a 6-figure online income that I had when I was able to quit my job in 2016. So, some lessons. Lesson 2, blogging friends are amazing. Some of my closest friends in the world I met, that's a picture from the very first FinCon in Chicago. I met a guy named Jeff who is one of my best friends in the world. There's so many great people here that our relationships can go far beyond just our blogs and the internet. We're here IRL, we're in real life friends. And I met so many here. Lesson 3, bloggers don't all look like comic book guy from The Simpsons. When I signed up to go to the very first FinCon in Chicago, I didn't know what I was getting into, and the first keynote speaker was J.D. Roth, and he had someone come out speaking Klingon, and I was a little nervous about where I was. Turns out finance bloggers are pretty cool. We're also a really diverse bunch. Even within the finance community, there are so many different topics we cover. There's people who talk about early retirement, and there's people who talk about earning more so you can spend more. There's so many different ways we can talk about money. Blogging is also not the only path. I started this blog. I thought I was going to have millions of visitors, but Google might have had slightly different plans than I had. But I picked up adding a podcast where I got to interview Kevin Smith. I started a YouTube channel. But there are some downsides. Blogging can be isolating. This is my office mate, Yogi. He's my dog. He hangs out with me all day when I sit by myself in a tiny little room. So it's important if you're a blogger that you also take time away from the screen. It's good to have hobbies like DJing maybe or flying airplanes. Whatever you're into, you got to get out of the computer. You got to get out of the office every once in a while. It's so important for your mental health. So when I was getting a haircut a couple weeks ago, and the hairstylist said, "So what do you do for a living?" And I said, "Oh, I'm a blogger." And every single person in this small barbershop turned and looked at me like I was a unicorn. Like, what? You're a blogger? Yes, bloggers are real. We can make an actual living doing this. Lesson 8, go to conferences. So FinCon was the first conference I went to, and it was like the gateway drug that took me to all of these conferences I've been to over the years. But coming back to FinCon again and again has always been my home base. Lesson 9, knowing a lot about money is good for your money. My credit score went from about 715 when I started blogging 10 years ago to about 815 today. I've been able to grow my bank account balances. I've been able to grow my investment accounts. I've been able to save for retirement. I've done all of these things because I've been reading other personal finance blogs and writing my own. And we can learn so much and we can teach as we do, but that ends up coming back to help us as well. So we're helping everyone as we help ourselves. Finally, lesson number 10, everyone's journey is unique. So we see these big name bloggers out there, we see the keynotes on the big stage, and we think, I'm gonna be like Pat Flynn when I grow up. But we can't all be Pat Flynn when we grow up. We have to find our own way. And as I mentioned earlier, I make 6 figures online, and I don't have smart passive income. I'm not Mr. Money Mustache. I'm not this super famous blogger, but I found a way to find financial success on my own path, and we can all find a path. I am a bit of a nerd, I have to admit. I watch a lot of Star Trek, and they say, boldly go, where no man has gone before at the beginning of every episode. And we can boldly go. We can create blogs, we can create podcasts, we can create videos, and we can change our lives and the world around us. So that was my birthday party right now for my blog turning 10. If you want to connect with me, I'm Eric Profits on Twitter. I have Personal Profitability as my own site, and I just launched a company called Mastermind Hunt. You got a postcard in your check-in bag at FinCon about that. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming.